Guess who's here? It's Eddie. And he's going to show you, like he promised, how to make fruit crumbles. First of all, I wondered if you might want to see my my computer screen. Tis a little bit damn, it's out of focus. What's the matter with it? And there you see it. These modern cameras, they ain't a patch on the new ones. And we come around the kitchen, and as you can see, I'm baking some frozen pies that I bought, and in the other tray you will see 4 of the trays that came from other pies. I will cook these all at the same time, thus saving money, and then freezing them. I am now putting the camera down fixed, and I won't be able to do you want to have a look around? Because I'm disabled, I got everything right to hand so that I can get at it easy. You know, everything's right next to each other. I've got 16 outlet sockets in here. This means I don't have to run around with stuff all the time. I can just stick something on. They're all switched off at night. I don't suppose health and safety will be very pleased with me. Now I'm setting up the camera in such a way that I hope you'll be able to see everything I do. Keep your fingers crossed. I have. Oh, I got a fag going here. Well, it's not really a fag, it's one of those special fags. And I don't suppose health and safety will like you doing that. I'm actually doing this just to exaggerate a bit, but the things we do today, we worry too much, and we are far too much thinking about health and safety, and health and safety is just destroying the bloody well population of the world, because we weren't designed to work that way. Oh, there's the pies and there's the dishes. Now, yesterday I sugared down strawberries, bananas, pear, and some currants and raisins. They're all in there, can you see? I'm going to put them in there. Oh, they were in the fridge overnight. It softens them up. And this is crumble. I made this yesterday as well. It's just come out of the fridge. Very simple to make. Although you lazy sods will just go and buy a packet, won't you, from the shops, and you can use that just as well. But it costs you a fraction of the price doing it this way. You have equal weights of flour, sugar and fat. The fat in my case happens to be olive spread. I also use a little sunflower oil in there as well. You add the flour to the fat and don't put the sugar in. You work it either with your fingers or with a spoon or whatever you have to hand, and now I'm going to break it up to show you how by being in the fridge. By the way, this will keep 2 or 3 weeks in the fridge, so you can make up plenty. I won't use all this today. Then you take a spoon, and if you watch how it comes up into lumps, that's because it's been in the fridge overnight. You see it? You have to break it up a little bit smaller than that. That's what gives you the crumble effect. Now if you like, believe it or not, if you like short crust biscuits, it's exactly the same as this. If you pat it out and pat them down and cut them out into shapes and put them in the oven, you'll have shortcake biscuits. Anyway, here we go. You can see this. I'm now gonna put the fruit in here first. You can notice how I can just reach, because my back's starting to ache already, so I've got to be quick. I'll say half fill. Try and get the same amount of juice in all of them. If you fill too much, it'll overrun. That's why they're in a dish, because I usually overrun. Because I'm greedy, I like a lot of fruit in them. And I don't intend to have any of this fruit left. Now there's very little sugar in there, and what little sugar there is brown, unrefined. Far healthier. I just spreading out, if I don't want too many carrots in one and another, and raisins and that. Try and get the fruit mixed as well as possible. As I say, you can use anything. The strawberries, I add strawberries, and I add strawberries in ice cream, and then I sugar down the leftovers, because they won't keep very long. Whatever you do with strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, any soft fruit, keep them away from bananas, because they'll go off rotten in no time flat. I'm going to have a drag here. Yeah, but if you got things like apples and pears and plums and peaches and that you buy and they're always never ripe, pack them in with the bananas and the bananas will ripen them. Never put bananas in the fridge, because if you do, they'll ripen that fast, they'll be black in a couple of days. So keep them out in the open. What I usually do is put the bananas on the bottom and the other fruit on top of them. And if it's a sunny day, I'll put the whole lot out in the porch, because it's almost like a small greenhouse. And do that. I forgot to mention here, if you notice, that these pies, I put crosses on 3 of them. They're chicken, the other 2 are beef. In actual fact, that cross will help in the baking, because when it bakes, it will split apart and it'll make like a, you know, like the fancy people do. But mine is all plain cooking, and you can't beat it. Now those trays there that I mentioned to you about, as well as what we're doing here, they are wonderful for making miniature Yorkshire puddings. And I know there's a lot of people watch me from Yorkshire, so all you do is put a little oil in the bottom, stick it in the oven. When it's hot, pour in your batter mix, and you'll have lovely little Yorkshire puddings. You can either have them individual if you're greedy, and or you can cut them in half and share them with your partner. As I say, most of my dishes are singles or couples that are living alone in a flat that doesn't have a great deal of cooking facility. And that's about it. I'm now going to put the crumble on top. Now, there are 2 ways of doing crumble, and it's solely a matter of taste. You can either put the crumble on top of the fruit and put it in the oven, or you can cook the crumble first in the oven separate. In other words, put it on another tray, and I I'm just deciding. I prefer actually to put it straight on because I like to have the crumble at the bottom soaked in the juices from the. It also prevents the juices from oozing over the side a bit. Anyway, how did you enjoy my coffee? Did any of you make my coffee? I did forgot to mention that if you grate a little bit of chocolate over the top of it, you got a Starbucks. Oh, I mustn't say Starbucks, must I? Oh well, too late now. So there you go. I better put this out. Health and safety be going up the wall. But my point is, there's any germs that are around, they're my germs. They know me. They leave me alone. They better, because they get destroyed by my immune system if they don't. I suggest you, if you haven't already seen it, my video on cancer. Because cancer is something to do with the immune system. Cancer's always been there. We all have these cancer cells. And these tests that they do for antibodies and all that, they don't tell you anything. Because all they tell you is that your immune system has developed the antibodies. That's another story. When I was young and we had all these inoculations like smallpox and diphtheria and whatnot, they always say, oh dear, it hasn't taken. Because the reason it hadn't taken, because all these vaccinations and whatnot, you know, all they do is encourage the body to produce antibodies. Well, I already had the antibodies, didn't need them, see? So it doesn't make any difference. It was a bit of a laugh when I was in the Merchant Navy, because all the poor sods there had these jabs and they were laid up for a day. Oh me, there's nothing that happened. Once in Africa, I was out living in, I spent the night in the corral, chieftain's corral, with his daughter. That's another story. And woke up in the morning, absolutely covered in muzzy bites all over. And I mean all over, yeah. You got it. And oh, go back. They say, oh, you'll get malaria. Yeah, I didn't get malaria. Didn't get anything. Yellow fever. What else was it? Sleeping fever. What do they called it? I didn't get nothing. Other people went down with it. In fact, some of them that had the injections went down with things. Oh well, there it is. Bits of crumble have fallen into the tray. That doesn't matter. Because if you like, when you take them out, they're nice crunchy little shortcakes that you can eat. Right, that's it. Now we're going to light the oven up. Should have lit that up 5-10 minutes ago. It's difficult for me to get down to see if the oven... No, it ain't light. These bloody old TV cooks, they don't have this problem. It's already done for them. So there we are. That's going in the oven now, and there is 4 afters or sweets, whatever they call it, and 6 pies going in there. So we're not wasting that much gas, are we? And the way I do it is the pie's on the second shelf and the crumble on the top shelf. Whether that's right according to the experts or no, I don't know. But it works for me. And that's all that matters, isn't it? Hey, well, there you go. It's going to take a little while for all that to cook. But I'm going to do what they do on telly. I'm going to go to the freezer and I'm going to get out what I made earlier and froze. Here we go. Now, here we are, back again. Here they are, these are the ones I made earlier, look. Last week I think. Unfortunately I got terrible memory. That one it was left in a little bit too long. But it's perfectly alright. Some people prefer it like that. Some like it white, some like it golden, some like it dark. There are various fruits in there. I think there's cherries and plum, apple. I did forget to mention when I was talking about the mixed fruit, to add spices to your taste. I am a bit of a fan of cinnamon and ginger, and I add them. Nutmeg's very good. Apple, I put lemon, actual piece of lemon, you know, the rind of a lemon. You don't even need to use just the outside, the zest I should say, and put that in the middle of one of them, because you don't eat that, you take it out when you... Now there's a little trick. I'm going to eat one of these now, you see, and I'm going to show you. You need a sort of dish or something like that, anything to do, but you need something that's got a base. And I'll take this dark one. To get them out of the run just a little warm water over the back, and with a bit of luck it'll pop out. Now that's it. Depending on how this goes, whether you can use it again for another one, but it doesn't look like this will be used again. Oh, I might do, but probably next time I put holes in it and they'll be used in the freezer. Also, I forgot to mention that when they've done their job, they are then recycled as aluminium foil. So that's 3 uses plus recycling. That is helping the environment, isn't it? Oh dear. So there we go. Now, if you want a super special crumble, here's a little tip before putting in the microwave. This really spices it up. I must admit I didn't make these. Jolly old marshmallows. Now, if you cut them that way, in other words the long way, they don't cut that easy, but it doesn't really matter. You just pull them apart and put them on the bottom of the plate. I'm actually using a white and a pink. Doesn't matter. I don't think they taste much difference anyway. And sort of spread them so they cover the bottom of the plate. See, put them in the bottom there. Rest the whichever crumble you're having on top of them, and this is really delicious, I tell you. Oh, I forgot to tell you. I'm just taking out the microwave my main evening meal. Guess what? It's a Cornish pasty. And guess what? I didn't pay any VAT on it, and I never will. It came out of my freezer, so it should be cold enough. But it's been in the microwave to heat it up. Now, if you heat a pasty up in a microwave, always get it really hot and leave it to cool down. Otherwise you wind up with a soggy where the pastry drops all about. You notice mine doesn't. That is because it was cooked quite a while ago. I quite like them cold, but if you want them hot, you just pop them in the microwave for 20 seconds, something like that, and they will heat up again, because it's not completely cold, if you know what I mean. Anyway, there we go. So You then pop in the microwave the crumble with the marshmallows underneath. Remember, that's a special treat. You don't do that all the time. And I could have put a bit more cinnamon in there, or whatever. You can do what you like. I mean, suit yourself. But that's the basic thing that you do. Now, I've probably bored you long enough, so I'm going to pop the microwave on. Now, usually a couple of minutes. I don't think we'll wait for it to ping. I want to show you what it looks like when it comes out. But I might cut a bit of this out so you don't see it, because there's another minute and a half to go. It's worth keeping an eye on it, because sometimes it cooks a bit quicker. That marshmallow trick, I thought you might like to see me for a change. The marshmallow trick will work with any apple crumble you make. Them, you know, if you make an apple crumble or any pie or anything, what's it, and you put some in the fridge overnight, it's good to just put the crumble on top of marshmallows, and you know, after having an ordinary crumble. That's if you're a family and you make a big crumble, but it spices up. Well, it doesn't really spice up. It just makes it more like a luxury meal. And it only works in a microwave. So you got up on the ones with the big hargers and that, because it won't work in them. If you put it in then, it turns to toffee. The coffee, you know, the reason the coffee comes out like that is the way microwaves work. I don't know if you know it, but microwaves simply excite the water molecules and start them dancing around, and the friction from the water molecules moving around, and they move around real fast, the electrons and the protons and the atoms. It's finished. It makes it frothy, and the same effect on, it has the same effect on marshmallows as well. Here we go. There, look. Bit of camera work here. There. Quite pretty, isn't it? I bet you never knew that. Of course you did. Somebody must have done it before. I can't be the first. Anyway, there you go. And that's all for now. I've got to go and do a movie now about another complaint about the bloody budget. I got to tell them about, you know, putting up the price of hags. All they're doing there is helping the smugglers, putting more money in their pockets. But then.